Welcome everyone, I'm Corey from Aquarium Co-op, and this is the More Aquarium Co-op channel where we do things like tutorials, species profiles, product reviews, and today we're talking about the celestial pearl Danio. One of my favorite fish, great nano fish, little quirky, and easy to stress out. So we're going to talk about all the ways we can avoid stressing this little animal out. First, let's get a big group. I know they're kind of expensive. I know they're hard to find, but more the merrier. These guys feel great in a big group. I recommend at least 6, but if you can get 10 or 12 or 15, even better. I know it's expensive. They like cooler water. So will they live at 78? Definitely, but they really thrive more at 72, 74, 76, somewhere down that lower 70s area. They do a lot better. When it comes to feeding these guys, they can be very reclusive sometimes. They only really like, and I say like to eat mid-water. They'll eat at the top a little bit, they'll eat at the bottom a little bit, but just know that that mid-zone is where you really get them and get those full fat bellies you're looking for. Now, only some foods do that really well. Live baby brine, frozen baby brine, frozen cyclops. Pellet foods will float a little bit longer, but usually they float straight to the bottom. Flake food can sink kind of slow, but usually I find you have to feed a little bit of flake, walk away for 5 minutes, come back, feed a little bit of flake, walk away for 5 minutes, because if you just put a big old pinch in there, they'll eat some and the rest will just land on the bottom. You need them to catch it on the way down to really get that good feeding going on. Now, when it comes to pH, they can go a little lower, maybe 6.6 to 7.8, right? So, but I find they do really well, kind of that neutral area. Hardness, they're not too worried about. I wouldn't go with the hardest water you've ever seen, but at the same time, not have any minerals. They do really well in a planet tank, and they do well with other nano fish. So if they're kind of reserved and hidden, getting some other dither fish out there, which, by the way, check out our ditherfish video at the end of this video to figure out what a ditherfish is, but it's going to help them come out and be more active and eat better, right? So when it comes to an aquarium size, I like them in at least 10 gallons. They're a nano fish. They can go in small. They can, but we already established they like bigger groups, right? If we're going to do that 10, 15, 20 of them, they're going to have to be more in that 20 gallon, 10 gallon, 20 gallon, 30 gallon. Get them in a bigger group and you're going to add ditherfish maybe, so you're going to need that bigger tank, right? Now, when it comes to breeding them, this is a big one because they're expensive and everyone goes, I want more. They're so cool. They're these little trouts. Why wouldn't I want more? They sell so well. I can give them to the pet store. I can do all the things. Yes. From my experience, the best way to breed them is to let them spawn into a media. Now, normally that's going to be Java moss, or that's going to be a mop you make out of yarn or something like that. You're feeding the fish really well. If they're getting enough food, because they're feeding that mid-water, and they got big old bellies, they make a lot of eggs, they're going to spawn every day, right? It's going to take about a week for those eggs to hatch. So what a lot of people will do is they'll put something in, Java moss, maybe it's in a container, maybe it's just free floating, or spawning mops, let that sit in there for 7 days. There's going to collect eggs from day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? There's going to be all those eggs. Then they remove those medias, so whether it's the mop or the Java moss, into another aquarium with nothing in it. Let them hatch out. Tiny, tiny, tiny fry. That's the difficult part. You need to have things like infusoria, green water, other microscopic foods so they can get their first meals in. Then you transition them on to live baby brine shrimp, which hopefully you're already feeding the adults, so you kind of got it around already. The alternative method to that is to take something like a 20 long, divide it right in half, right? Put all your adults on one side over Java moss. Also have Java moss on the other side. So what you do, you let all your celestial pearl Danios breed over this side of the Java moss for a week. Then you net all of them, put them on the other side. So now you're putting in the microscopic foods and the baby brine shrimp and all of that, but it's feeding the entire aquarium. These fry are starting to hatch out. And after those 7 days, you've got all the eggs over here. Then you can net all the little babies you've raised up on the other side, and you go ahead and put them into another aquarium. Then you move these adults back over. guess what? These are going to hatch out and they're laying eggs over here again. So you can kind of get this factory going and raise the fry out in other tanks. So that way, when you start getting fry that are, you know, 1/4 of an inch big, they're not eating the newest hatch fry. That's how you could really produce a lot of them if you're trying to do that. The other easy way is just breed them outside in a pond over the summer. Enjoy them, bring them back in. They'll have great color and they're enjoyable. That's the thing, is they've got such a cult following because they stay small, they look like little trouts, they sell well, and they're just enjoyable to see in big groups. So they're a really nice fish. They're pretty easy to take care of. It's the food I find is the hardest part. They're not crazy susceptible to disease or anything. About the biggest thing that gets them is when you go to buy them in a store and they're already way too skinny. Sometimes that happens because the store is not paying attention. Just a little bit of food's going in and it's sinking to the bottom and it's getting eaten by the other fish in the tank, but not so much them. Focus on feeding them a really, really good diet of live baby brine, frozen cyclops, quality flake food, all of that kind of stuff. And you're going to get bright colors and a long-lived celestial pearl Danio that is going to hopefully reproduce for you. So enjoy those celestial pearl Danios, and hopefully you found this useful. If you have any tips, put them down in the comments below, because people scan that while they listen to this to see other users' advice of, I had luck with this, I had luck with that. Maybe you're looking for tank mates. What can I put with these guys? All other nano fish really do well. There's not really anything you can't mix them with in that nano realm. Just know that make sure they get fed really well, which a lot of the nano fish, they're a little bit harder to feed anyway, so you'll be on top of it. Good luck, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.